And we do have some major breaking news in our world lead for you. Israel's cabinet just approved President Trump's ceasefire deal, which means that the 20 living and 28 killed hostages being held currently in Gaza by the terrorist group Hamas will soon be released to Israel. Let's get right to CNN's Jeremy Diamond in Tel Aviv. Jeremy, this is pretty big.
Without a doubt, Jake, after 2 long years of captivity for those 48 hostages, but also 2 years of agony for their families, the Israeli government has now approved this deal that was brokered and reached in an agreement between Israel and Hamas in the early hours of yesterday morning to secure the release of all 48 hostages, 20 of whom are believed to still be alive. Now, the next steps in this process, we expect that a ceasefire will come into effect inside of the Gaza Strip. It's unclear if that ceasefire is already now in effect, but we had indeed been told previously that once the Israeli government approves this deal, a ceasefire would indeed take hold. We are waiting for confirmation on that from the Israeli military itself. But now what we will see is an appeals process through the Israeli Supreme Court for any individuals who want to oppose the release of some of the Palestinian prisoners who will be released from Israeli jails, including 250 of which are currently serving life sentences in Israeli prisons. Once that is complete, we will very quickly see the release of those hostages in Gaza. The Israeli military is also now set to begin its withdrawal of troops from parts of the Gaza Strip to pre-agreed lines of control. And once that withdrawal is complete, there will be this 72-hour countdown until the hostages are released, or at least a maximum of 72 hours. It could happen before that full 72-hour period has elapsed. We've heard President Trump, of course, saying that he believes that the hostages could come out on Monday. That is a date that we've heard as well, but officials here have also indicated there is a possibility this could happen as soon as Sunday. There's no question that that is still a moving target, but a huge moment here, of course. We expected the Israeli cabinet to approve this deal, but to see it actually going through is going to deliver yet another in really what has been a series of sighs of relief for the families of those hostages.
And Jeremy, a U.S. official is telling CNN that 200 U.S. service members are being sent to Israel to support the ceasefire. What do the next few hours and days look like?
Well, the next few hours and days, we will initially see the withdrawal of Israeli troops from parts of Gaza. They will move to lines which will see the Israeli military controlling still 53% of the Gaza Strip. And it's not clear, what the timeline will be after that, after this hostage release and the release of Palestinian prisoners is completed. How quickly after that will we actually see the Israeli military beginning to hand over territory to this, as of yet, not fully created international security force, which is supposed to start taking over security authority of the Gaza Strip. But these 200 U.S. troops that will be sent on the ground to monitor the implementation of this plan, again, that represents another step in moving towards this international security force. We understand that CENTCOM is likely to have a significant role in the coordination and the implementation of the next phases of this agreement. And again, we still need to see the details on what comes next, what the timeline is for all of this to happen. This issue of Hamas disarming, we haven't actually seen the details of that, whether a final agreement has actually been reached on that front. And so these are nonetheless still delicate days. Again, the most of the parties to this agreement, other than Israel, have framed this as an end of the war in Gaza. Israel has not yet. And I think that's part of why we saw Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law, as well as Steve Witkoff, the U.S. Special Envoy, in this cabinet meeting in the early hours of this morning here in Israel, in order to show the Prime Minister that they are still standing alongside him, in order to show those right-wing governing allies of the Prime Minister that the United States has a big stake in what happens next, and also perhaps just a recognition of the kind of delicate politics that Netanyahu is going to face going forward in order to implement the next phases of President Trump's plan to end the war and bring all of the hostages home. Jake?
Yeah, it's a 20-point plan, and it seems as though points 1 to 5 are on track, which is fantastic, but there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Jeremy Diamond in Tel Aviv, Israel.